She was never called pretty, not once. And in her world, beauty wasn't just a luxury. It was survival. From the moment Lim Ju-kyung opened her eyes to the world, she learned her place in it. Her relatives would smirk and say she took after her mother, Hong Hyun-suk, not her handsome father. She'll need plastic surgery, they'd laugh. Are you sure she's not adopted? And in those suffocating moments, Mom's whispered advice was always the same. Then do well in school. But school didn't save her. The neighborhood kids ripped her childhood dream to shreds. Once, she wanted to be a fairy from a cartoon. Instead, they told her she looked like a monster from a horror manhwa. She believed them. She called herself cursed. High school only sharpened the knives. In a class full of girls who lived for hair curlers and lip gloss, Ju-kyung hid behind heavy metal music and horror comics. The leader of the popular girls, Sae-mi, saw her as nothing but an errand girl, their personal shuttle. A paper ball to the head was the signal, go buy us dumplings. And Ju-kyung went, even if it meant swallowing her pride. But on the way back, fate, or maybe cruel irony, handed her a heartbeat she would never forget. The cafeteria appa, Hyun-bin, stopped her in the hallway, slipped one of her earbuds into his own ear, and headbanged to her favorite band. For a girl who lived in shadows, his smile felt like sunlight. She started to believe. Maybe. The next day she baked cookies, wrote a confession letter, prepared concert tickets, and dared to dream of love. But dreams are dangerous. In the cafeteria, in full view of her classmates, Hyun-bin rejected her. Not softly, not kindly. His words cut deep. If you don't have the looks, at least have smarts. Look in the mirror. Then he crushed her cookies underfoot. The popular kids swarmed, filming, laughing, declaring to the entire school that the ugliest girl had tried to shoot her shot. It wasn't just humiliation, it was annihilation. And it followed her home, pixel by pixel, comment by comment, until she stood on the rooftop of a high-rise, staring down at the world below. She was ready to end it. And then, a billboard, a memorial for Young Se-yun, an idol gone too soon. He would have turned 18 today. Somehow, in that moment, Ju-kyung didn't want to die anymore. But before she could step away, someone grabbed her, yanked her back from the ledge. Lee Soo-ho. Cold eyes, sharp words, and a voice that cracked with something like pain. Don't die. The people who love you, they'd live the rest of their lives in guilt. She didn't know it yet, but Soo-ho was carrying ghosts of his own. In the days that followed, humiliation still clung to her. The online whispers, the mirror she couldn't look into, until one comment, buried in a forum, changed everything. Overcome it with makeup. She dove in like it was a lifeline. Tutorials, practice, mistakes that cost her eyebrows. Days and nights of painting, blending, and erasing until her hands shook. But when she finally looked in the mirror, a stranger looked back, beautiful, untouchable. Her family moved back to their old neighborhood, and on the first day at her new school, she walked in not as Lim Ju-kyung the cursed, but as the goddess everyone turned to stare at. Friends came easily. Compliments rained down. Even the school's queen bee saw her as competition. Only one person looked at her with something other than awe, Soo-ho. And when she ran into him at her childhood safe haven, the manhwa shop, her two worlds collided. He recognized her instantly as the girl from the rooftop. She thought he was talking about her makeup. He thought she was hiding a suicide attempt. The misunderstanding bound them together in a secret neither understood fully. But secrets are heavy. And the more she tried to keep her two identities apart, the goddess and the ghost, the more cracks began to show. She could run from her past. She could paint a new face. But she couldn't control when her old scars would surface, or when the people she feared most would find her again. And in this tangled web of lies, trauma, and unexpected connections, one truth began to take shape. Love might save her, or destroy her completely. The moment Soo-ho's jacket disaster nearly exposed her, Ju-kyung thought she had dodged a bullet. But then it hits her, he knows. Somehow, he stitched the puzzle pieces together. That ugly manhwa shop Ju-kyung and goddess Sebom Hai Ju-kyung are the same person. A flashback slices in. Just before she yanked the incriminating bag away, Suho's sharp eyes had already taken a peek. The blazer, the manhwa, her post-it note. And in that instant, boom, the truth was his. There's no undoing it now. Desperate to keep him silent, Ju-kyung falls into a ridiculous new role. Suho's personal servant. She fetches. She runs errands. She obeys every smirked request like her life depends on it. It's exhausting to watch. But Suho? He's not blackmailing her. He doesn't even care about the bare face she's terrified to reveal. No, he's simply enjoying the game. The game hits its peak in the most humiliating way. Thinking she's performing at the school talent show, Ju-kyung launches into a sultry stage dance, only to discover she's been entertaining teachers. Somewhere in the shadows, Suho watches, eyes fixed. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't mock. That was the moment he was done for. But the world isn't any kinder. A group of boys corner her, tearing into her for her looks. The rain pours. Her glasses fog. And finally, she breaks. It's not my fault I'm ugly. The words shatter something in Suho. The teasing ends. Instead, he kneels in the rain, tending to her wounds with a gentleness that speaks louder than any confession. The tenderness doesn't go unnoticed. Seo-jun, the bad boy with a burning gaze, sees it all. And he knows. Suho feels something for her. At first, Seo-jun uses this as a weapon, feigning interest in Ju-kyung just to push Suho's buttons. And it works perfectly because when your best friend can't read you, who can? But then fate deals its own hand. Their mothers know each other. Suddenly, Ju-kyung and Seo-jun are in each other's lives for real. Sharing meals, sharing laughter, sharing promises. She begs him to stay off his motorcycle. He drops the keys into her hands anyway, like it's a vow. Your wishes matter more than mine. The banter turns into sparks. The sparks turn into something softer. And for a moment, when they're together, Suho fades completely from view. The triangle has ignited. Suho, the boy who saw her without the mask and didn't flinch. Seo-jun, the boy who's willing to change for her. And in the middle, Ju-kyung, utterly oblivious, convinced they're not fighting over her at all. She runs from their confrontations. She dodges, deflects, scurries. But the tension between the two boys grows hotter by the second, their rivalry tightening around her like a net she can't yet see. And when she finally realizes, it might already be too late. Seo-jun turns the charm on like a weapon. The whole school watches in awe as the notorious bad boy showers Ju-kyung with attention. Whispers follow them down every hallway, his fan club squealing at every smirk he sends her way. But the reaction he's hunting for? He doesn't get it. Instead of blushing, Ju-kyung frowns. Instead of flirting back, she dodges. And in one perfectly awkward moment, she even plants a clump of rice on his face by accident. She doesn't believe him, not for a second. To her, Seo-jun's charm is just another act, and her heart is already tangled up in someone else. Suho. The difference between them is stark. She rejects Seo-jun's juice gift without a thought. But when Suho quietly hands her one later, she keeps the bottle, using it to store her makeup like it's a treasure. It's becoming obvious. Suho makes excuses to see her. They accidentally fall into each other's arms again. They're awkward, they're shy, they're magnetic. Could be the start of something beautiful. But this is K-drama, and it's far too early for an easy happy ending. The storm hits in the form of Seo-jun's rage. He blames Suho for the death of their friend. Every drop of guilt, every unanswered question, every sleepless night. And when he uses Ju-kyung to poke at that wound, Suho shatters. The boy who hides behind a cold mask suddenly turns cruel, pushing Ju-kyung away without explanation. She's left standing there, hurt and confused. Seo-jun isn't a villain, though. Beneath the swagger is a grieving friend, a devoted son, a protective older brother, and an unintentional comedic genius. Case in point. Rocking out in his boxers and bathrobe, only to freeze in horror when he realizes Ju-kyung is sitting in his living room. He plays it cool for about 2 seconds. Then he bolts into his room, shrieking like he's the heroine instead of her. The week swings between light and heavy, from the uni's crush and the homeroom teacher's eyebrow disaster, to moments that make your chest ache, like when Ju-kyung spots the insignia on Suho's hoodie and realizes it was him on the rooftop that night, the boy who saved her life. And then the tables turn. Grief drags Suho to the same rooftop again, haunted by their lost friend. Ju-kyung finds him there, her voice soft and steady as she tells him he's not alone. The scene is raw, intimate, the kind of moment you don't forget. But the heart of this week's episodes is Ju-kyung seeing herself in someone else. Seo Go-woon, a quiet girl in her brother's grade, is bullied for her looks just as viciously as Ju-kyung once was. She's so much like her younger self it's almost painful. And Ju-kyung doesn't hesitate. She defends her, talks her down from the edge, teaches her the tricks she had to learn the hard way. And this doesn't escape Seo-jun's notice, because Go-woon is his little sister. Still, the ghosts of Ju-kyung's past keep creeping in. At the Jimjilbang, she narrowly avoids Seo-jun and his friends. At a burger shop, she isn't so lucky, running straight into the bullies from her old school. Their ringleader is merciless, and Ju-kyung's fear is palpable. Then, like something out of a revenge fantasy, Suho appears, cutting through the tension and pulling her out. It should be over. But by the final moments of the week, the real danger begins. Her old nemesis is watching her every move online. She's connected to Seo-jun's sworn enemy. And together, they connect the dots. Goddess Ju-kyung and ugly Ju-kyung are the same girl, and they're not content to just spread the word. They take her, kidnap her, drag her straight into their vendetta against Seo-jun. And when the scene explodes into chaos, it's pure boys before flowers intensity. A full-blown, high-pitched showdown that threatens to rip everything apart. 2 weeks without true beauty felt like forever. But when it returns, it hits like a sugar rush. Dizzying, chaotic, and completely addictive. The drama serves up everything at once. Sly pop culture nods, accidental couple outfits, splashy lake dunkings, unexpected fevers, and a lie detector game that feels more dangerous than any rooftop confession. We don't even see the end of last week's epic Noribang brawl, just the fallout. Punishments are handed down, apology letters demanded. Yet the mood in our little friend group, still as warm and chaotic as ever. The fight leaves one unexpected side effect: crush levels skyrocketing across the board. For Ju-kyung, her feelings for Suho deepen when she remembers a moment after the fight. His hand slipping into hers in the taxi, steady and protective. For a second, she dares to think this could be something. But then, he pulls away. What she doesn't know is that Suho has been burning himself out behind the scenes, tracking down the guy who once kidnapped her, cornering him, forcing an apology. A modern-day knight in plain clothes. Suho's feelings for her are just as strong as hers for him, but every time she thinks she has proof, something, or rather someone, gets in the way. That someone is Soo-jin, his oldest friend, his confidant, the girl who knows about his father's abuse and sees the side of him no one else does. She also happens to be quietly in love with him. And every wrong time scene Ju-kyung walks in on with the two of them chips away at her confidence until she does what's easiest: avoid him. Meanwhile, another wild card enters the game. Ryu Hyung-jin, the school's baseball golden boy. Bravado, killer Sadawari, and a laser focus on Ju-kyung from the moment he sees her. His directness rattles everyone, especially Suho and Seo-jun. Competing with each other was one thing, but a third rival? Unthinkable. Their rivalry is its own love story, full of accidental teamwork, sharp-edged banter, and silent stare-downs that could start a fire. 1 minute they're bristling, the next they're brawling in a sunlit field like they've forgotten the world exists. The plot this week is loose, breezy, more an excuse to shuffle the characters into situations that intensify the crushes and the confusion. Mall trips, study sessions, baseball games, they all feed into the same electric tension. And then comes the school trip. Classic K-drama territory, because when you take the cast out of the classroom, emotions sharpen, barriers drop, and everything escalates. It's here that Seo-jun's own realization hits him like a truck. He likes Ju-kyung. Not just a tease, not just a rivalry tactic, the real thing. And he's horrified, because there's no turning back from this. For Soo-ho, the trip becomes a countdown to confession. He fumbles, hesitates, loses his chance more than once. But when the moment comes, it's perfect. Danger, rescue, a breathless admission. I like you. And then the kiss. No makeup. No perfect lighting. Just raw, real, and utterly disarming. Soo-ho sees no difference between the goddess and the girl who hides. But where there's joy for Soo-ho and Ju-kyung, there's quiet heartbreak for Seo-jun. For all his easy charm and steady care, she never saw him the same way. She calls him her brother, makes him test her lipsticks, and in the moment that breaks him a little, she sobs right into his chest about how much she likes Soo-ho. A love triangle at full power, and someone's heart is about to burn. Ju-kyung's awkward retreat is pure rom-com gold. Cheeks blazing, heart racing, eyes darting anywhere but Soo-ho's. She flees, only for him to chase after her, confusion in every step. And when he finally catches up, the necklace slips into her hands, a quiet promise wrapped in silver. They part on a warm note, but it's a deceptively calm beginning to a storm neither of them sees coming. Dating the most popular, smartest, and most envied boy in school should feel like a dream. For Ju-kyung, it's a tightrope walk over a pit of secrets. Every smile comes with a shadow, the fear that her past, the before version of herself, will spill out into the light. So instead of walking openly beside Soo-ho, she hides, dodges, masks. It's hilarious, yes. The awkward cover-ups, the frantic self-sabotage. But it's also a crack forming in the foundation of this brand new relationship. Still, as sweet as they are, this week doesn't belong to the official couple. It belongs to the second lead, Seo-jun. There's something irresistible about a man who tells himself he's over her, even as every glance, every moment, says otherwise. Ju-kyung trusts him completely, opening up to him without hesitation, because to her he's a friend, a safe space. But her unfiltered kindness and openness are like quicksand for Seo-jun. Every act of care pulls him deeper, and he's fighting a losing battle. He masks his attraction with mock irritation. He teases to distract himself. But then the couple photo shoot happens, his reluctant distance cracking, their eyes locking, the air heating in an instant. He tries to pull back, but the chemistry hits like a spark to gasoline. Then there's the shoelace scene. Harmless, casual, at least for her. For him, it's a quiet earthquake. She sees a buddy tying her shoes. He sees a moment that makes his chest ache. The more time they spend together, the more Seo-jun becomes her go-to sounding board. For worries, for secrets, for late-night confessions she doesn't share with Soo-ho. He learns the shape of her fears, and he starts protecting her without being asked. With her, his warmth is all playful prickles and soft edges. With Soo-ho, it's a blade. They clash at every turn. Over food, over family charm offensives, over who can truly protect Ju-kyung. Seo-jun's not above throwing down a gauntlet. If you can't take care of her, I will. The triangle sharpens. The rivalry deepens. And somewhere in the middle, Ju-kyung still thinks she's walking a straight line, not realizing two boys are about to rewrite her path entirely. The drama gods have spoken, and blessedly, the boys' car accident is not the tragedy it first seemed. No funerals, no irreversible losses, just a collection of broken bones. Soo-ho with a leg in a cast, Seo-jun sporting a sling or two, and a perfect setup for hijinks, healing, and overdue truths. For all the bruises and bandages, this crash does what nothing else could. It forces Soo-ho and Seo-jun into each other's orbit long enough to dismantle the wall between them. Seo-jun, alongside Ju-kyung, sees Soo-ho's raw anger toward his father. The truth about Se-yeon's death finally spills out, washing away years of misunderstanding. The blame evaporates, the resentment melts, and in its place, two boys sit in shared grief, mourning together the way they should have long ago. It's cathartic, it's tender. It's the bromance comeback we were all waiting for. And, because true beauty knows balance, the heavy is tempered with comedy gold. Piggyback rides gone wrong, feeding each other like reluctant newlyweds. the kind of goofy companionship that makes even their classmates notice. The rivalry is over, but peace in the bromance means turbulence in the triangle. Seo-jun, noble to the bone, keeps his feelings for Ju-kyung locked away. When Soo-ho, unaware, asks if he plans to confess, Seo-jun waves it off. No, he won't. Not when she's clearly happy with someone else. It's maddeningly selfless, and it only makes him more magnetic. Meanwhile, shadows are gathering. The bullies from Ju-kyung's old school, ghosts she's been running from, keep slithering back into her life. And now, with Soo-jin sliding into full-on antagonist mode, those ghosts have an audience. When another victim of that same cruelty transfers to Sebom High, Soo-jin begins piecing the puzzle together. Ju-kyung's old, ugly identity, her humiliation, the photographic proof. We knew this moment was coming, but it doesn't make it any easier to watch. This is the nightmare Ju-kyung's been living in fear of since the day she reinvented herself, and now it detonates in front of the entire school. Whispers, snickers, side-eyes, laughter, the false sense of betrayal from so-called friends who were never really that. Soo-ho? Unmoved, he already knew and loved her anyway. Seo-jun? Shown the incriminating photos by the lead bully, and his reaction is blessedly indifferent. But the rest of the school? They swarm like piranhas. And yet, from the ashes of humiliation, something important sparks. After the merciless reveal of Ju-kyung's bare face to the entire school, she's left gutted, shattered. This isn't just embarrassment. It's betrayal, fear, and humiliation crashing down in one soul-crushing wave. She retreats from the world, locking herself away from the whispers and stares, from the classmates who turned on her in a heartbeat. But Ju-kyung is nothing if not resilient. And slowly, painfully, she finds the courage to return, to walk those halls again, to look her so-called friends and her sworn enemies in the eye. On the other side, she is different, stronger, sharper, a girl who has faced her nightmare and lived to tell it. That transformation doesn't happen in isolation. The people who truly love her rally. Her little brother, fierce and protective. Soo-ho, scouring the city like a man possessed until he finds her. Seo-jun, stepping in like a knight with sharper edges, confronting Soo-jin head-on and yanking the incriminating video from the school portal before it can spread further. Even her adorably awkward homeroom teacher joins the defense squad, publicly calling out the cruelty of her classmates. Soo-ho is her emotional anchor, holding steady no matter how rough the tide gets. Seo-jun becomes her tactical backup, going to war on her behalf without hesitation. But the most unexpected and most poignant moment comes from her mother. For so long, their relationship has been shadowed by unspoken tension. When Ju-kyung finally admits she wants to study cosmetology, her mother explodes, until her anger unravels into truth. She doesn't want her daughter to face the same struggles she has. That honesty cracks something open, and when the homeroom teacher reveals Ju-kyung's bullied past, Mama Im softens completely, turning into a fierce mother hen determined to protect her chick. Their newfound understanding is hard-won and deeply precious. From there, the winds keep coming. Soo-jin is iced out for her viciousness. Soo-ah and Ju-kyung reconcile. The girls team up to rescue Hai-min from her own bullies, and their fight scene is an absurd, glorious mix of comedy and catharsis. As ever, true beauty wraps its laughter around a core of loyalty, courage, and standing up for the downtrodden. And through it all, Soo-ho's presence is unwavering. His love doesn't just comfort Ju-kyung, it empowers her, making her braver than she ever believed she could be. They go public with their relationship, and though she stumbles under the weight of other people's opinions, Soo-ho's earnest heart leaves no room for doubt. Seo-jun, ever the quiet hero, keeps his distance while helping when it matters most. Their repaired friendship with Soo-ho is a gift in itself, leading to hints of Seo-jun's return to music. And in one of their most honest moments yet, Seo-jun asks Soo-ho's blessing to tell Ju-kyung how he feels. Not to sway her, but to move on. Soo-ho agrees, and Seo-jun's oblique confession lands like a bittersweet bow on their tangled history. By all accounts, it feels like the drama is winding toward a happy close. Conflicts resolved. Love solidified. Friendships restored. Soo-ho and Ju-kyung, blissed out by the seaside, soaking in each other's company. And then the twist. A sudden call. Soo-ho's father has suffered a stroke. He vanishes from the scene, and before we can process it, bam, a 2-year time skip. The crew is back together, minus Soo-jin, laughing over food and drinks. Ju-kyung is tipsy and nodding off, and it's Seo-jun who's there to catch her. He calls her name with casual familiarity. She greets him like a boyfriend. She leans on him, half asleep. It's jarring. Earlier in the drama, such a moment might have thrilled. Ju-kyung torn between two good men, her heart a battlefield. But that's not the story we were told. Her heart was always Soo-ho's. So why this? Why now? The scene lands less like a cliffhanger and more like a curveball that misses the strike zone entirely. A last-minute trick that feels, frankly, cheap. All in all, True Beauty was a joyride, sweet, funny, heartfelt, which is exactly why the last 2 episodes sting. Not enough to erase all the charm that came before, but enough to make you wonder, why didn't we just end on a high at episode 14? The main story was already tied up with a satisfying bow. Instead, the final week feels like an afterthought. A blend of filler, fan service, and an all-out push to wring maximum second lead angst from Seo-jun. And sure, I'll never complain about more Seo-jun, but was it worth the detour? For me, not quite. We leap 2 years into the future, only to find Ju-kyung single and Seo-jun a permanent fixture in her life. Sleeping over, hanging out with her family, still carrying a torch so bright it's blinding. The cliffhanger had teased that they might be dating, but no, they're just close, painfully close. The culprit behind the breakup? Soo-ho, stranded in the States due to his father's illness, deciding in a burst of noble idiocy that Ju-kyung shouldn't wait for him. Never mind that this couple has been unwavering and devoted for the entire series. Never mind that long distance was an option. He cuts contact for 2 years. 2 years. Then, the moment he returns, he's on a mission. Find Ju-kyung. Why now? Why was disappearing acceptable but returning urgent? Logic left the building. Their reunion happens on the season's first snow at Namsan Tower. Romantic? Yes, but complicated. Ju-kyung's heart is still tender, and she tries to avoid him. Just as Seo-jun finally decides to confess. 2 years he's waited, and his just 3 dates proposal is peak second lead heartbreak. Tender, selfless, and doomed. Seo-jun knows. He knows she doesn't love him that way. He knows that once Soo-ho's back, the ending's already written. So instead of fighting for her, he lies. In a way that pushes Ju-kyung and Soo-ho back into each other's arms for good. And just like that, the love triangle dissolves with a sigh, not a bang. The rest is pure wrap-up. Ju-kyung thrives at Selena's makeup company. Seo-jun's band is on the brink of debut. Soo-ho reconciles with his father. Hee-kyung marries the homeroom teacher. Go-woon says yes to Ju-young. Soo-ah and Tae-hoon reunite as 20-somethings. Even Soo-jin returns, softer, but with a fiercer sidekick in tow. It's all sweet. It's all in character. But it also feels unnecessary. Like the drama wanted to pretend these last 2 hours were essential when really, they were just bonus material. Fluff disguised as finale. Still, the series stays true to its tone to the very last scene. Ju-kyung and Soo-ho, side by side in the manhwa shop, choosing their next read. A happy ending, wrapped in quiet smiles.